Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4, and we are doing another top 5 or top 10 list for Ride 4. Today we're going to be doing a top 5 list of the 251cc's up to 500cc's, because simply there just wasn't enough bikes to either use for a 300cc, a 400cc, or even a 500cc list, so we've basically got a amalgamation of them all. And I guess what you're thinking is that's going to be rather difficult to compete, because how can a 300 be compared to a 500? Well, it's going to be just more about how I feel about these bikes in this particular category, from the 251s up to 500cc. So without further ado, let's start off with number 5. So number 5 on the list is the Honda CBR 300R, a fantastic little motorcycle which I would highly recommend for beginner use, which I have another list coming very, very soon, so shout out to the Honda CBR for probably making that list as well. But we are going to be tackling Laguna Seca for the next 5 bikes, or next 4 after the Honda CBR, but honestly, my opinion with this bike is really good. I think it feels fantastic. I did consider using the RM version, which I've used a lot more of, but to be honest with you, I think the RM version of this particular Honda is really ugly, so I wanted to go for the street variant, and I do really enjoy this one for more of a sense of just jumping on it and just having a little bit of a ride. I quite enjoyed it. I didn't use it much, but from my time with it, I did rather enjoy it. Now, I wouldn't want to tackle the Nordschleife like we did with the 125cc machine, but I would still enjoy something like Laguna Seca or Donington Park, or perhaps even Snetterton or Cadwell would be a great little choice as well. But I really like this colour scheme for the Honda. It's the classic colours, the blue, the white, the red. Really good looking motorcycle, and it handles really well. Of course, it doesn't have that power to force you into much errors, or you can be a little bit more aggressive than probably you can get away with if you chose a larger motorcycle. So I do really like the Honda CBR 300R, and I would highly recommend for you to check it out as well. Yes, it only got 5 on the list, but 5 on the list is still a pretty good number because you're on the list. It's cause for concern when you're not on the list, so if you're on the top 5, you're alright as far as I'm concerned. But now going into the final corner of Laguna Seca, using the Honda CBR 300R. Downshifts are fantastic on this machine. You can really wrench it straight down, or you can fly up the gearbox as well. Pretty competitive package in a small motorcycle, so number 5 spot goes to the Honda. Now number 4 we have the KTM 390R, and it probably a very good bike for not only the game but in real life as well. I've heard that the feedback is very good for this particular model, but honestly I really like the look of this bike. I think it looks quite striking, much better than the RM version. I think the RM looks a little bit blocky and clunky. I'm not particularly a fan, but I really like using this bike whenever I get a chance to. Of course, we last used it in Tsukuba, I believe it was, and that is the classic Tsukuba, is pronounced incorrectly, the Japanese track. And of course, the livery made by Sergio is also equally as excellent as the motorcycle itself, so it just makes it a little bit more special to have this bike in the list. I think it carries quite a lot of speed and an exceptional amount of lean angle. It's a very deceptive bike. It doesn't look so quick, but when you actually start racing this machine around some of the best tracks in the world, you do feel a sense of grip and control with the KTM. And now I'm thinking about it, maybe this bike actually deserves a little bit further up on the list. I don't know whether I'm going to go for a middle shift here, a little quick mid shift. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll stick to my guns, because this was what I felt the other day when I made the video, and now as I'm recording it, I can't gush over the motorcycles too much, but I do really love this machine, I really do. And even going into the corkscrew there, I made a little bit of a mistake, but the KTM handles it in its pride. It just handles it in its form, in its charm. It's a wonderful bike. Major props to the KTM 390R. I do really enjoy using this machine, and I would highly recommend you try out the Austrian factory's KTM if you haven't done so already. But now going into the left hand side for turn 11, running a little bit deep, but we bring on the acceleration, get onto the rumble strip, and we are sorted. Bob's your uncle, as one would say. So across the line we'll be going into the podium finishes now. So number 3, the Yamaha RD 500LC. Now this is, I guess, where it's going to get a little bit unfair, because you're comparing a 500 to a 400 or a 300cc machine, and I guess it's a little bit difficult, but I really like the Yamaha RD. And of course it has a very, very special place in my heart, because this bike was the very first time trial challenge we did, which was classed as a DrAce time trial challenge that I issued to everyone else in Suzuka, I do believe it was. I think it was a recommendation from Mad Max, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not wrong on that one, but honestly, the Yamaha RD, terrific motorcycle. It handles like a dream. Probably deserves a little bit higher up than just third, but honestly the next two are a little bit more special for me, but I really love the colour scheme of this motorcycle. It handles so well, it's got a lot of oomph to it as well, and it's just a pleasure to use. The brakes are fantastic on it. Obviously using slick tyres as well, which makes a big difference. But I actually seen one of these recently when I went out shopping a few weeks ago, and honestly I fell in love with this bike once again. It's a gorgeous looker, even in real life, not alone just in the video game. But honestly, the Yamaha RD totally deserves a spot on this list. Very much enjoy using it whenever I get the chance. May do a video on it soon actually, because now I'm more inspired than I ever have been to use the Yamaha RD once again. But the next two bikes on the list is pretty difficult to top the Yamaha RD, but in this instance it does just about eclipse the Yamaha RD 500 LC. Well, now as we approach the line, we'll make a start on our number 2 on the list. So the penultimate entry is the Yamaha YZF-R3 RM with the iconic Lipton DrAce livery, courtesy of our very own Ace Sergio 23, and I honestly adore this bike. This is the RM version of the R3, and of course the R3 already is a fantastic motorcycle, and this is where you might surprise you a little bit, because I have actually chose an R3, so a 300cc bike, over a 500cc. Yes, it is possible to choose a lower class bike rather than picking the top fastest bikes all the time, and that's probably why I really wanted to do this list, because I guess a lot of us would just expect the 500s to be first and second, but no, I decided to change it up and I decided to include the Yamaha R3 RM on our penultimate entry for this particular list. So let me tell you why the R3 deserves second place, and honestly, I just think it's the best grippy bike ever, and what I mean by that is that this bike handles so well. Every corner it takes in its stride, you can literally chuck it anywhere and the bike will never drop. I don't think I've ever crashed the Yamaha R3, and I really hope that never happens, because I love this bike. And of course the livery is so special, made by Sergio in our 9th DrAce challenge from quite a while back now, and it just handles so well. The grip is fantastic. It's got a little bit of speed. It's nothing too extravagant in the sense of 200 miles an hour or anything like that. It's just a very good solid bike, and I highly recommend it for learners and beginners. I think it's a great bike to get used to. It's a great bike to push and really feel the limits of it, because it doesn't have that much speed, so it's going to force you into an area you can't recover from. Really solid motorcycle. I love using it. Again, another time I've looked at this bike and I'm more inspired than ever to use it in another video. But across the line we will go, and we're going to start our number 1 choice, the Suzuki RG500 RM. And what do you know, another Sergio livery has made the cut. The Suzuki RG500 RM is just stunning to look at. It's excellent to handle. It is a bit of a beast, I won't lie. It does give you some major oomph. It really does, and it has a lot of handling and it has a lot of power, but it's just a great bike to ride. If you're looking for something with a little bit of a challenge, but at the same time something fair, I would suggest the RG500. I think it handles extremely well, but you can push it too far. This was the 10th DrAce challenge, if I'm not mistaken, in Manny Cours, and I crashed this bike so many times trying to get the top spot. I do believe Ikai's won that one, if I recall. And I pushed so hard going into Adelaide, going into the final couple of corners. It was even into Chateau d'Eu, or even up into Estoril, made too many mistakes on board this motorcycle, but it feels so good. It just feels like it wants to stay on board. It feels like it wants to grip all the time. If you're looking for a bike that has a lot of power, but also is extremely fair to ride, look no further than the Suzuki RG500 RM. Major French kiss, c'est magnifique. Beautiful motorcycle. This bike deserves the DrAce seal of approval. Bang! Any opportunity to get to use this one again, you better believe I'll be making another video. Well, that's going to be it from me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like the video and to subscribe as well. Comment down below what you think of the video and if you agree with my list. And upon that note, guys, I will see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh, hi. Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now, with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.